Good afternoon. Today, I want to discuss being on a governmental list because you are traveling while you are black. Now, first, I would like to preface this by saying that to travel while black would not automatically put you on a government's list, because you can travel domestically within the states and you won't have to worry about being put on some type of governmental list. But once you start going international, depending on the countries that you go to, and I'm not talking about most of us ADOS African Americans, we will travel, but when we do travel internationally, it's to our known spots, which are Jamaica, the Caribbean, and maybe France or something like that. You know, those are known popular destinations for a majority of American Africans. But once you start going to different countries, right? Once you start going outside of that box and you're doing it with frequency, you may be placed on some type of governmental watch list. You know, because they're starting to wonder now, why is this black person traveling like this and with frequency? And why is he going to these countries that are outside of the norm for most American Africans to go to, right? And one thing I want to let you all know is that you have a constitutional right to travel as long as you have obtained your legal documentation, went through all the steps, don't have any warrants, don't have any child support, anything like that. You have a right to travel whenever and wherever the hell you want to. That's what I want to say, right? It is not illegal to travel if you are black internationally. It's not illegal. It's not a crime. So I want to let that be known. But just know that when you start to go outside of the normal traveling places that black people are known to go, they may become suspicious of you. Now, white boys and white girls, they travel all the fucking time, right? They go wherever, whenever. They have a term for them. They call them backpacking. They are backpackers, right? So they may spend a year to 2 years just traveling the world, going wherever they want to go, right? And they have no problems traveling, and they're not put on any type of governmental list for traveling while white. They're free to move about and come and go whenever and wherever they want to go. They can go to Iran. They can go wherever they want to go. They can go to the countries that are deemed to be, you know, enemies of the U.S. without any problem, and come back, and they're not taken through the same scrutiny that a black person who may do the same thing is. And so I want to relate this particularly to my situation. About a year ago, I would say it's been about a year, I noticed it started with, I noticed that whenever I was coming into the country, back into the States, I was being pulled out and asked to come to the back room, where they further investigate people, when you're going through the customs. Because now, as you know, if you travel internationally, you know that everything is done electronically. You no longer have to fill out that form unless the systems are down. So when you're on the plane, when you get off the plane, coming from an international flight, you go through U.S. Customs, and they have these machines, and you put your passport in there, you answer a few questions, and you take a picture and then submit. Then they print out a slip for you, which is the U.S. Customs slip, right? And so about a year ago, I didn't notice, but after filling out after going through that process and seeing a U.S. Customs officer, I was being asked to come to the back, to be escorted towards the back. And the first time it happened, I think I was coming from, it might have been coming from Africa, and Egypt to be exact. And they asked me my name. They brought me to the back, and they asked me my name. They's like, "What's your name?" And I said, you see my name, it's on my passport, right? And so they asked me my name, and they asked me, "Okay, where you live?" I told them where I live. I was like, "Okay, you know where I live." And basically, they asked me my name, they asked me where I live, and and basically they took me through a screening process. And I'm just totally confused, because I'm like, okay, what's going on? I mean, why am I back here? What is it? And after about an hour or so, they finally said, well, there's someone in Chicago that, or Illinois, that is using your name, and I guess they're being arrested and this, that, and the other. And I thought, okay, yeah, I did remember I lost a debit card when I was in Chicago a few months back. This was last year, a few months back. But I notified my bank. I let them know that I lost my debit card and whatnot, and I didn't lose my ID. I didn't lose my driver's license or anything like that. I just lost a debit card. And so I informed them of this, and they said, "Oh, okay." And so after that experience, I said, "No, let me take care of this right now." So I immediately called the Chicago PD. I called Oakland PD, where I was at, and I notified them like, "Hey, I hear there's somebody using my ID. It's not me. I want to let y'all know, it's not me. Whoever's using my ID, I want to file a police report letting you know that it's not me." And they, basically Chicago PD, I didn't speak to Oakland PD. I did everything online, but Chicago PD was they weren't very helpful. They was like, well, it's like they had this like type of rude attitude, but regardless of that matter, I informed them like, hey, that's not me, so hopefully this situation would be rectified. And so fast forward, to make long story short, I go out of the country again, come back again. They pulled me to the side about this name thing, and I told them like, hey, I already went to I called the Oakland PD. I wrote a police report, all this, all that. I did all that. Why am I still on here? I'm letting you guys know, noted in your system that whoever you guys are looking for, it's not me. Whoever stole my name, it's not me. Whatever, And so, okay, they gave me the runaround. They let me go again. And I leave the country frequently. So it got into a point where it was happening all the time, and I come to expect it. Soon as I come in the country, I come to expect it, And finally, I started to look at that little printout that you get when you run your passport in the system. I started to look at the printout, and I noticed it was an X on it, right? And so that automatically, I kind of scanned around and I was looking at other people's custom slips, and I didn't see no X. So right then and there, I knew, okay, the system is automatically marking me out. It's not even the officers now. It's the computer system that's automatically putting a check on that custom slip. And so just recently, coming back from Asia, I noticed that X, and I was like, okay, I already know what's happening now. I already know what I'm coming to expect. So as I approached the officer, as expected, before they even said anything, I was like, I already know I got to go to the back, and he's like, oh, she's like, oh, you know this already. I'm like, yeah, let's get it over with. And so as they call the officer to escort me to the back, the officer's trying to small talk with me. I'm like, I already know this process. I told her, I said, I now know I'm on some type of list for whatever bullshit you guys are worried about. I'm on some type of list, right? So they bring me to the back. She's trying to say, oh, you already know, small talking me or whatever. And I get to the back, and this time, they didn't give me this whole, oh, somebody, has your name bullshit. They basically just like, okay, she's like, well, I'm gonna try to speed this process up for you since you're a U.S. citizen, because basically everybody in the room, I think I was the only U.S. citizen in that room. Everybody else appeared to be from another country, right? So, I'm like, hurry up, let's go through this process, let's speed it up, let's get through it, and so, this time they didn't hit me with this BS about your name. They just took my passport, did some talking amongst themselves. They had me stand somewhere, and then they just took me and she's like, okay, now we're going to search your bags. And they extensively searched my bags, asking me all kind of questions about where I live, what's my number, this, that, and the other, what I do, and I'm like, how is this important? I just, basically at the end of it, I told them, look, I want to let y'all know I'm not selling any type of drugs. I'm not, planning to do some type of terrorist act. I ain't trying to do none of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a regular American that likes to travel. Travel is my passion, and that's what I like to do. Everybody else may do other things, but this is what I like to do. This is what brings my life meaning, right? And so I let them know that. I was like, tell the upper ups that you don't have nothing to worry about with me. And one strange thing I like to tell you guys about is that this is the first time this has ever happened. I actually was interrogated before I left the U.S. This is the first time this has ever happened to me doing international travel. They purposefully waited for me to come towards the gate, and when I came towards the gate, they had about 3 to 4 custom officers right there waiting for me, right? This has never happened to me. It's usually when I'm coming back. And they interrogated me extensively. The guy was like, why are you traveling, this, that, and the other. I'm like, is it a crime for me to travel, bro? And so to wrap this up, if you are a black person, and let's say you look ethnic, you might have dreads, you're not your typical clean cut type of black person with the the bald head and the butt face, but let's say you have dreads or ethnic look, and you're traveling frequently out of the country, for pleasure, because you like to do it. It is a chance that they may put you on some type of governmental watch list where each and every time you come back into the country, they're taking you through this extensive screening process. So I just want to end the video with this. Y'all be aware of that. Y'all be aware that they're trying to limit our movements. They don't want us black men to be traveling out of this world to experience life. So with that being said, like, share, and subscribe. Peace.